Republican Senator Mike Braun of Indiana, a member of the Budget Committee, among others. Senator, thanks for being back on the show. Good afternoon.
Hey, my pleasure, Hallie.
Let me pick up where Leanne laid off. Assuming all of this reaches the Senate in a way that's being laid out, right? A vote linking the debt limit rule, change to a Medicare bill. Is this something that you would intend to support?
First of all, I think Leanne described it as well as you can for being a convoluted process. It's going to be easy for me, Hallie. Since I've been here, I've voted against raising the debt ceiling. And I found being successful on Main Street, you had to do things in the moment that made it easy in the mid and long term. I don't want to get too philosophical here, but when I got here a little under 3 years ago, we were $18 trillion in debt. Now we're nearing 30, and I voted against raising debt limits or doing CRs because it's a symptom of a broken system. We don't do budgeting. We keep spending to the tune of $1 trillion structural deficits, soon to be $1.5 trillion. You've got to sooner or later say that this is crazy and that we're really dumping a heavy load on our kids and grandkids. So I'll be voting against it, but they won't worry about me because I'm a handful of 3 or 4 that vote out of principle, not whatever you're going to do to get to the next year. And by the way, all the spending we're talking about here on the CR that isn't related to the debt ceiling necessarily, that's stuff we should have had done before September 30th, and we're still wrestling with that to boot.
So, Senator, you made your position clear on that. Let me ask you about another vote that I think is in the works sometime, probably in the next 24 hours. And this is your resolution against President Biden's vaccine mandate for big employers, the vax or test rule, essentially. I understand, just correct me if I'm wrong, that is expected tomorrow. Is that right? And then I want to ask you about it.
We don't have a time on the floor yet, but everything I'm hearing is we'll vote on that tomorrow, yes.
It appears, and our team's latest reporting is that Senator Manchin and now perhaps Senator Tester, 2 Democrats, look likely to vote with you on this. Do you expect any other Democrats to cross the aisle and join you here?
I've spoken to 3 or 4 others. I won't mention their names. And I would say any swing state senator, anybody that is listening to their people back home, this doesn't poll when it's vaccine or job. And even when you say vaccine or get tested or job, most of the people that are digging in, regardless of their reasons, aren't viewing it as an option. They consider it the same. Most Axios did a poll where only 14% of Americans agree that it should be done in an ultimatum form. The courts have weighed in. I think that's falling apart, and I believe this is just the formal way it gets every senator, every House member on record. So I think it's going to make it tough for Biden to keep pushing forward when it was a bad idea to begin with.
Well, I have to tell you, it doesn't seem tough to the White House because just before you came on the air and we had this conversation, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked about this by our team, and she said very definitively that President Biden will veto this if it comes to this desk, right? And even looking at the numbers you have, let's say you have at best 56, let's say even 57 senators who vote on this, that's still not a veto-proof majority, right? Is this anything other than signal sending or messaging on your part? Because ultimately, you know, it's not going to cross the finish line, it seems.
It would have to cascade into something more than what we've got now, but it moved.
Okay, so you acknowledge that.
Yeah, it moved in 2 weeks to where I got every Republican on it. Now we got 2 Democratic senators. There got to be at least 30 swing district Democrats that are wondering, do they want to run against this in 2022, or do they want to do what their people probably want them to do and not endorse this heavy hand of vaccine or lose your job? That doesn't make sense.
I'm only jumping in, Senator, because I have 30 seconds left in this show. I'm sorry, but I have to say, this isn't, nobody's being forced to get the vaccine here, right? There is a weekly testing option. So people have the option, employers have the option to test out, right? And instead just do weekly testing. Why is that not sufficient for you?
Because
given that, again, nobody's being forced to get a needle in their arm.
You need to talk to the people that they're going to make the decision, whether it's right or wrong for their own well-being, health-wise or job. They equate testing and getting the vaccine as one and the same. You throw the ultimatum to boot. That's what's driving those folks to dig in on it. They need to check and see what their people say in their districts.
We have a lot of breaking news this hour, Senator. I wish we had more time. I very much have to go. Thank you very much, Senator Mike Braun. Appreciate you.